Okay, so the concept that Christianity follows pagan religions and that they just kind of stole ideas from here and there and everywhere, completely absurd, brought up in the 1800s, completely proven false in the 1800s. Hardly anybody but laymen on the YouTube and the internet use it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Every single case has been given. You can investigate it, actually investigate it, and it's so easy to find out that all this stuff is false. Like Jesus is nothing like Horus, nothing like Buddha, nothing like Bertha, nothing like any of those things. And it's just ridiculous. It's absurd. What's even worse is that people actually say online, the same people who say this about Christianity say the same thing about Judaism, that the Old Testament follows pagan religions as well. They say that the idea of Moses was stolen, the idea of the Exodus was stolen, the flood was stolen from pagan religions, and all the same garbage which could be easily investigated and proven wrong, just like these can. And I'm sure you would go ahead and do that, but you're not going to investigate the Christian faith, though, are you? Of course not. Okay, so let's look at the examples you gave of Christianity stealing the Trinity idea from pagan religions. The first one I want to look at is the Hindu one, the Hindu Trinity from India. This is very interesting because it comes around the 4th century after Jesus, which is to say that if there's any copying going on, it's the other way around. And what's even more interesting is that it's not a trinity, it's a triad. It's 3 gods who may interact with each other, but they're not one God in 3 persons. So it's not a trinity. And not only that, but there's a 4th god, can't remember the name, give me a second, Ishvara or something like that, that may actually be involved here. So it may actually be 4 gods, not 3. And this is a polytheistic religion, not a monotheistic religion. Okay, so Iris, Osiris, and Horus. Again, at best, a triad. However, not even that, because these are 3 gods worshipped by the same people who worshipped many other gods, such as Hathor, Neith, Set, Nut, and the superior sun god, Ra. So the 3 that you pointed out aren't even considered superior, and they're in no way, shape, or form a trinity. Now, the most interesting example that you gave is the Babylonian Trinity, because I looked up Nimrod in 8 different encyclopedias, Semiramis in 8 different encyclopedias, and Tammuz in 8 different encyclopedias, and no matches. They have nothing to do with each other. But yet, if you Google Babylonian Trinity, you get tons of websites saying all this crap about this whole history of these 3 and how they've interrelated and all this kind of stuff, and yet the encyclopedias don't support it. Well, after doing lots of research, because I was getting ready to just say, you know, this must be an internet myth, which actually, yeah, it's an internet myth, but I actually seem to have found the actual source for it. So it seems that in 1853, a man by the name of Alexander Hislop wrote a book called The Two Babylons, where he completely made up this Babylonian Trinity. You can look up this information yourself in encyclopedias, or maybe Amazon.com has the book and you can buy it, who knows. But anyway, the purpose of the book was Alexander Hislop was a Protestant minister, and he wanted to prove that Catholics had some kind of, that stole the idea of Mary being queen in heaven and exalting her to some kind of divine status, was a stolen idea which was passed on from Babylonian days up to today. And so he kind of made up this history, and it was considered at the time as conspiracy theory propaganda, and it's still being used today by both atheists and apparently Jews to show some kind of pagan background for the Trinity, and continues to be used by some Christians in the same way that Alexander Hislop used it. But there you have it. So there you go. Okay, so throughout your video, you pop up continuously pictures of Christian images or supposed Christian images and some pagan images. Well, in most cases, they were of Mary, and the idea of Mary being queen or exalted to the point of divinity of some sort, or somebody you should pray or worship, that's a Catholic thing. It's not a Christian thing. So bring it up with them. The other ones, some of them had to do with the Trinity stuff, which I've already disproved. And then the rest of it, I don't know what the pagan images are. You didn't label them, they're not named, so I don't know where they come from, so I can't respond to them. There are 2 reasons why Christians adopt the second coming. One is because Jesus said he will return. That's actually a really, really good reason for adopting it. Number two is that Jesus fulfilled over 300 prophecies of the Messiah. However, he still has some more to fulfill, which, based on some of the things he said, he intends to do during his second coming. Okay, real quick, I want to make a point. I think I'm running out of time here. Concerning Christians and pagan myths, the same thing when people bring up Judaism and pagan myths. It commits the genetic fallacy. What that means is that it doesn't matter how somebody came up with a thought or arrived at a belief. That does absolutely nothing to show or prove that that thought or belief is true or false. So, somebody can tell you that you have an emotional crutch that causes you to believe in God. Well, you actually might have an actual emotional crutch that causes you to believe in God. But that doesn't prove that God does not exist, and it doesn't prove that God does exist. So it's completely useless. And that's what this whole pagan myth crap is.